towards better lifestyle since a few years, and today has also been an important day for Mumbai, where you saw thousands of people running the marathon on the streets. So on behalf of the World Vegan Vision, I extend a very warm welcome to you all. Before we start, a very small glimpse into World Vegan Vision and the founders, Mr. H.K. Shah and Madhavan Shah. Okay, so about World Vegan Vision and the founders, Mr. H.K. Shah and Madhavan Shah. In 1970s, a lot of Indians moved to US for a better lifestyle, to fulfill their dreams, and so did Mr. H.K. Shah and Madhavan. But Mr. H.K. Shah noticed that a lot of Indians who were moving to US were adapting a meat diet from a plant-based diet. This bothered him, and so he started organizing small events so that people stick to their roots and they continue being vegetarians. But for all those who know him, he's a man with a big vision. And he had this burning desire to create a healthier world and a more compassionate world. And that's how Vegetarian Vision took birth in New York in the year 1992. I would press on that and stress on that word burning desire, because even now his desire to see the world more compassionate is very strong even at this age. Over the years, they realized that just being vegetarian was not sufficient for animal welfare, for personal health, and for the environment. For those who don't know, animal agriculture is the leading cause for climate change, and a staggering figure of 70 billion animals are killed each year. Not just for meat and leather, but the industries depend on the dairy industry. So if you think that consuming dairy and you're still a vegetarian needs a little deeper thought. They adapted the vegan lifestyle in 2011, and the organization is now called World Vegan Vision. The mission of the World Vegan Vision is to increase public awareness about the three main aspects of veganism. That's health, animal welfare, and environmental conservation. The organization is now 26 years old, and it serves as a resource network and a think tank for vegans worldwide with the objective of a healthy future for all living beings in planet Earth. Mr. H.K. Shah has collaborated with many vegan, vegetarian organizations to strengthen the cause. And it takes the lead in promoting vegan lifestyles in hospitals, airlines, schools, educational institutions, and communities through food festivals, yoga and health events, motivational speakers, fun cruises for the youth pageants, and their famous Thanksgiving dinners. Mr. and Mrs. Shah are brilliant examples of the benefits of a vegan diet. He leads a very active business and personal life. He's an avid golf player. And if he is the visionary, Mrs. Shah is the nurturer. And without her, this World Vegan Vision wouldn't have reached where it is today. She is also an accomplished painter and the chairwoman of World Vegan Vision. They both have dedicated their lives to the mission to promote vegan food and lifestyle to younger generation. They encourage them to save the planet and animals. They do exemplary work towards animal welfare. World Vegan Vision, which started in New York, has chapters in Ohio and now in Mumbai, Ahmedabad, and they intend to expand and to broaden its outreach to all English-speaking countries in Europe and in Asia. A very warm welcome to you all, and thank you for coming for this event. I would now like to start the session by introducing our first speaker, Dr. Rashmi Menon. She is a qualified medical doctor and a certified plant-based disease reversal expert, specializing in homeopathy, with a depth of knowledge in psychotherapy and clinical hypnotherapy. A compassionate listener, her passion for holistic healing has seen her facilitate miraculous healing, even in terminal cases, since starting practice in 1999. She has patients of all ages, young children, aged, and they find a simple wisdom and unique approach to medicine and treatment easy to follow. She has successfully helped many people manage or even reverse their diseases by working on the holistic aspects of mind, body, and nutrition, including diseases like diabetes, hypertension, and even some forms of cancer. Oh, even PCOD, which is like rising amongst the teenage girls, depression, endometriosis, thyroid issues, and as I said, some cancer cases. She has trained the doctors of Dr. Rajan Shankaran's the Other Song Institute of Homeopathy in plant-based nutrition to benefit the overall health and well-being of all their patients. She conducts seminars, group sessions, meditations, besides one-on-one consultations. She is a raw foodist by choice since 2016. Can you please welcome her?
Okay, thank you for coming here today and taking out time from your busy Sunday schedules to be here with us today. As she introduced me, I am Dr. Rashmi, and I would like to show you some pictures of myself first. So you remember we had done, all of us who are on Instagram, had done something called the 10-year challenge. I also decided to do that, and these are my pictures. Can you just... This is 2009 and that is 2019. Next. That's my son. Now he's this tall. He's 6'1". And that's me again. And that was me in 2008. And if you see, I was looking totally different from what I'm looking right now. And not just that, this is not just what was happening. What was happening inside was, I was also carrying a Pandora's box of diseases. Click one more. One more slide. No, back. Okay, I was suffering from something called osteomalacia. Have you heard of osteoporosis here? Osteomalacia is the start of osteoporosis. And I was just in my 30s those days, and my osteoporosis was at my hip bone. So I couldn't stand like this for half an hour without pain. And I was told that I would have to go for a hip replacement surgery if this kept on worsening. And I was also suffering from something called endometriosis. And I was also asthmatic, and I had styes in my eyes, and because of all of this, I was suffering from borderline depression. And I'll tell you a little bit of my history. I'm born into a family from Kerala, huge non-veg eaters, beef eaters. And I used to go and spend 2 months in my grandparents' house in Kerala when I was a child. And I would play with all the animals there, and I would connect with them. I would consider them my friends. And then once in that 2 months, there would be this big meal happening of non-veg food. And all the relatives will be collecting. It will be in the evening. They will make a meal, and I would really enjoy it. Maybe it was the company that I enjoyed or the food, I don't know. And the next day, I would go searching for all my friends. And it would happen that I would not find 1 or 2 of my friends. And I would keep wondering what is happening. And one of my cousin brothers told me that the friend that you're searching for is in your stomach. You had eaten him last night. And I was 3 years old, and that got to me. So I stopped eating meat when I was 2 years old. 3 years old, of course, with a lot of trouble, because how much power does a 3-year-old have in a family, right? My parents would try to force feed me. I would have stomach problems. I would fake stomach problems, and they would take me to doctors. And the doctors didn't know what was happening, because actually nothing was wrong with me. I was just pretending so I don't have to eat meat. So I would be given doses of injections upon injections. I was so afraid of injections that when it came to choosing a career after my 12th, I decided not to take up allopathy, but take up our sweet pills homeopathy. I was that afraid. So, of course, now I no longer give even those medicines. Since the last 6 years, I treat people without medicines. So when I was diagnosed with osteomalacia, as a doctor, I used to feel, okay, I'm not eating non-veg, I'm not eating eggs. Eggs also dropped out at the age of 18 when I attended my first Vipassana session. So that was also gone. So where do I get my calcium from? Obviously milk, right? So I started overdosing on milk and milk products, cheese, everything. And the disease was not going away, the pain was still there. And then one of my friends from the US, she sent me a video about cruelty in the dairy industry. I told her this happens in your US, not in our India. In our India, we consider cows as the mother. We don't do all these things to our cows. So I just neglected it out of, deleted it from my mind. Then she showed me a video about the dairy industry in India, the PETA horrors of the dairy industry. I saw that and something shifted. But still, I had this big dilemma in front of me, that if I stopped drinking the milk or the dairy products, I will have to go for a hip replacement surgery. And if I kept eating these products 3 times a day, 4 times a day, I would be filled with guilt. So if at the age of 3, I chose the animals, obviously at the age of 33 also, I chose the animals. I said, okay, it's fine. I'll go for a hip replacement surgery. I will not take these dairy products. It's fine. And it took me some time to wean off all the dairy products from my diet. And then it was almost a month since I had weaned off, and it was my son's birthday. And we were having a party at the house. There were guests in the house. I was on my feet the entire day. And at the end of the day, I was at the kitchen washing the utensils, and I suddenly realized that I don't have any pain. It was not half an hour, it was not 1 hour, it was an entire day I was on my feet, and I had 0 pain. That got me thinking, how is this possible? Maybe I have developed some nervous damage or something, that's why I'm not having pain. So I went to the doctor the next day, and he took another DEXA scan, and he told me that my bone is reforming, remineralizing. That's when I got to thinking that maybe there's something more to this, not just the ethical aspect, there's some health aspect to it. So that's how I got into the field of whole food plant-based nutrition. So now whole food plant-based nutrition and mind work is the base of my practice, and I help people reverse the lifestyle diseases through food and nutrition. Now, why lifestyle diseases? What is a lifestyle disease? What is the definition of a lifestyle disease? Something that is caused by lifestyle. But when you have diabetes, when you have blood pressure, the first thing that you do is you will go to the doctor and they will prescribe you a medicine and you will be told you're supposed to take this lifelong, right? Now, if lifestyle is the cause, how can medicine be the cure, right? It can be you will need medicine temporarily to settle your condition, but that cannot be the cure. So for lifestyle disease, you have to look at your lifestyle and rectify where you're going wrong. That's the only way forward. So that's where I started studying. And the next slide. And this has been my transformation. I started running marathons. From where I couldn't stand for like half an hour, I could run marathons. Now I no longer run marathons. I do trekking, I climb 10 stairs up, and I keep myself active that way. But I needed to prove that to myself, that yes, I can do it. So that has been my transformational journey. Yeah. So why did I cure my osteoporosis? This is one of the biggest things that we never learned in medical college. When you have more milk, we think that the milk is going into our bones. But actually, only 70% of the calcium in the milk is taken by the body. And 30% of it, only 30% is taken by the body and 70% is just going out of your body. And the calcium in the milk comes with something called casein, which is milk protein. And when you have a lot of casein in your body, it depletes your body of calcium. So it's like, you have this pot and there's a hole in it. And you're keeping on filling it with water, water, water. Will it ever get filled? Unless you remove the hole or you seal the hole, it will never get filled. Milk is that hole. Non-veg food is that hole which takes out the calcium. The moment we stop it, our body gets the calcium from everything that we eat, as long as we are eating wholesome. So that has been my experience. Can we shift the slide, please? Okay, so where do we get our calcium from? Do you know til? Now is the season of tilgul, right? Sesame seeds have 10 times the calcium of cow's milk. And poppy seeds, khaskhas, it has 20 times more. And how much calcium do we need anyways? So even if you're having a pinch of poppy seeds, a few handful of greens in a day, your calcium requirement is taken care of. Okay, next. So I would like to show you this video. So now this is a renal disease. She was suffering from renal disease, blood pressure. She was on multiple medicines since 6 years. And within 4 months, you can see the change. Can you just play it? And she's from Jamshedpur. She belongs to a Bengali family. She was more than happy to just change her diet. You know, Bengalis, they eat a lot of fish. Fish they eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But she shifted it entirely, and she benefited hugely from it. Within 4 months, it's okay, we will just go. We don't have much time. So she reversed her creatinine levels, which were in the 4 and all. It became normal within 4 months. And slowly I could take her off her blood pressure medicines. Now she's on 1 EcoSprint because that was required for her. Other than that, her body is clear of all medicines. And this patient I have been treating over the Skype. So it's not that you even need personal one-on-one, because you just have to change your lifestyle. You can learn it from what I talk here, what doctor is going to talk here, and just do it yourself. It's as easy as that. Yes, next one, please. So this is a case of PCOD. This I received 2 years back. So she had come just for 1 session. And within 1 month, she could see that she was able to do everything. In the sonography, the cyst had completely dissolved. Now let me go back a little bit. Why the creatinine levels came down? Okay, so this lady had renal disease. That means that her kidneys were not able to filter very well. That's why the creatinine levels were high in her blood. So when we started removing the toxins in the food, toxins means the food that is not meant for our body. How many non-vegetarians over here? No? No one? Okay. How many love their milk products? Their milk, ice creams, cheese. Majority. Like, I used to love ice creams and chocolates. I used to call myself a chocoholic. I was that addicted to chocolate. So the thing is, if I can change, I'm sure anybody in this world can change. So let's just look back. What are we meant to eat? Okay? So if you were to just imagine that you didn't have any man-made tools. What has nature made us for? We are made by nature. Nature has made our food, and nature has given us the skills to procure that food, right? So what if we are very hungry and we didn't have any man-made tools, and we are going to a forest or maybe a farm? What are the things that attract you? The fruits? The colors attract you, the smells attract you, and you can reach out and pluck that and eat it properly. No problem there. And what about the tomatoes that grow? You will be attracted to the color. You'll be able to pluck it and eat it, right? Maybe if you're very hungry, you might even sniff out the carrot leaves and beetroot leaves and eat them as well. And if you see the beetroot and carrot, they grow on soft soil. So you can easily remove them, pick them up, and eat them. Now, what happens if you see a cow and a calf in the wild grazing? What do you feel like doing? Just feel like saying, oh, how cute, right? Does anybody feel like going and removing that calf out of the udders and fixing ourselves to the udders? Anyone here? Our mind might tell us that, okay, isse chas banta hai, isse ice cream banta hai, so let me try it. And if you do try it, what would the cow do? Kick you. One big kick and you might even die, because this is a cow living the way nature intended, not the cow which we have enslaved, that we have raped to create more milk. This is a regular cow living freely in the wild. She will give us one kick and will be dead even. So those things which we cannot procure from our external tools, how do you think it is going to be digested in our internal tools? It's just common sense, isn't it? Just like the animals have the instinct, we also have an instinct to exactly what we need to eat. We just have to go back and connect with it. We just have to look at what is the things that I can easily procure. And these things, I can boil them, cook them, do whatever. The things which I cannot procure at all, why do I even attempt to eat them? Right? It's as simple as that. Can we play the next one? Okay. This also, I don't think the video is playing. Is it playing? Yeah. There. Just hover over it. So this is Nisha Gauri. She was my first cancer patient. She was diagnosed with breast cancer, and the doctors had given her 45 days to live. And if she underwent chemotherapy, she would live for 2 months. That was her, horoscope given to her by the doctors. And she came to me for the holistic treatment. And after putting her on this regime, we also did a lot of work to allay her fears. She was very fearful and all that. It's been 3 years now. She herself did a course in naturopathy, and she runs a hugely successful support group for all cancer patients. And she encourages people to walk the natural path. And whole food, plant-based nutrition, juicing is a part, and raw food is a big part of our healing process. So if it's not happening, it's fine. We'll just move ahead. So why does cancer happen so frequently? Nowadays, har dusre ghar mein cancer hai, right? Before, it was not so rampant. What has become different in our generation that was not there in the older generation? It is obviously the lifestyle. In fact, when I was a child, if you wanted cheese, it was so rare that people had to import it. And there would be a fight over the cheese. Today, cheese is there in every single thing that we eat. Even if you pick up a Lay's packet, you might find some milk in it, some cheese in it. So all this, when you put something harmful in your body, at the first level, the body will throw it out at the gut level. And when that doesn't happen, after maybe some 1 decade or something, it will show at your organ level, wherein you will develop diabetes, you will develop blood pressure, you'll develop renal problems. Some bodies don't react at that level. Then it goes to the cellular level, where you develop cancer and you develop autoimmune disease. So by that time, we would have forgotten that this is the reason behind it. But the thing is, our bodies are so efficient that even if we take 2 steps behind towards following our natural path, it will start healing. It will show us the gift. So, estrogen is one of the major reasons for breast cancer and in males, prostate cancer. So, studies have shown that milk is one of the primary causes of breast and prostate cancer, and it triggers all the other cancers. Now, there's a reason behind it. When does the cow give milk? When does the cow give milk? After she has become pregnant and she has delivered. Yeah? How many mothers here? And how many fathers who have looked at mothers breastfeeding and known the hormonal changes that they go through? Right? Immediately after we give birth, we go through this hormonal highs and lows. Our body is like totally imbalanced by the hormones. This is the same thing that is happening in the cow's body. And all those hormones are coming into our body through the milk that we are drinking. And as it is, our body is a delicate balance of hormones. Anywhere it becomes imbalanced, it will show its effect. This is one of the primary reasons why we suffer from hormonal diseases and from cancer. You can just read this. Casein is one of the primary carcinogens identified by humans. And it can turn on cancer cells. If you see, what are cancer cells? Cancer cells are your regular cells, which don't know when to stop growing, right? So any cell in your body is a potential cancer cell. The less carcinogens you put in, the less the cells will be deviated. As simple as that. Okay, we can go further. How much time do I have? Okay, so this was one interesting case. Of course, I don't have his photo because he's a bit shy. He doesn't want his case out there. This person came to me for psoriasis. And he was suffering, he was 55 when he came to me, and he was suffering from psoriasis from the age of 5. And his whole body was filled with flakes. He would sit, he would be flaking all over. So throughout his adult life, he has never worn shorts. Always full-sleeved, always full pants. And when we made this change, it took a year, because autoimmune diseases take the longest to show effect, because it's at a cellular level. So at the end of 1 year, when he came to me, he showed me pictures of him vacationing wearing shorts. So from age 5, even when he was 55, he was able to change. He was able to reverse. So yes, there is hope even for people with psoriasis. So why does autoimmune diseases happen? Basically, our immune system is like our army, right? And it's autoimmune, when there is a deviation in the autoimmune system, what happens is, it's like a state of emergency in your body. It's like when you are in a state of emergency, maybe in Bombay, you're given strict orders that 5 people or more should not gather, right? And the army is brought in, and the army is given clear instructions. This is how a terrorist would look like. And anybody who fits this description, it's shoot at sight. Similar instructions come into our body when we suffer from autoimmune diseases. There's so much of external foreign body intrusion happening in our body that the immune system doesn't know which is the foreign body and which is the human body. And one of the primary foreign element is animal protein. Because the animal DNA is slightly similar to the human DNA than the plant DNA. So what happens is, when there's a lot of animal DNA in the system, after a point in time, the autoimmune system, the immunity system, it starts attacking the healthy cells within your human body as well. So the first step is remove these foreign elements. And then start eating cleaner and cleaner till the body says, okay, it is safe now. Let's bring the army back. We don't need the army out there anymore. Okay, we can shift. Okay, autoimmune diseases are, or immunity system. Okay, 5 minutes, fine. Can we just go to the next one? We can just shift over all this. Generally, the advice given is to lessen the sugar, consume less fat, lower stress, reduce toxin intake, but nobody talks about reducing animal foods. This is one of the primary reasons for this. Okay, now another important case was that of anxiety and depression. It's fine, we will skip the videos. So this one patient came to me for, because I also do consultation, counselings.
I always felt I was eating healthy. I had these strange aches and pains which I could never understand why my body was experiencing. Fatigue, which I again couldn't understand. And when I'm eating the right foods, the healthy foods, why is it that I'm feeling so tired all the time? Why is my body not responding to the health I think I'm passing on to it? And I was also suffering from depression. And I wanted a way to come out of it. And somewhere I began realizing that the answer does lie in the nutrition. Because though it's the mind that controls the body, it's also the nutrition that heals the body. And it has to be a combination of both, not any one thing. And so I wanted to learn more that how can I begin making this change. I started on a journey, but where next? What I really want.
Okay, so she had come to our retreat. We do 7-day retreats in Kasoli in the Himalayas. So when she had come, she couldn't even face people. And this is the second last day when she's like confident enough to face the camera. And just because we changed the food habits. Of course, we do a lot of meditation and nature walk and all that, but major is the food. Why does this happen? There's a study done on the, it is from the American Journal of Health Promotion, in which people were fed a plant-based diet, and some people were given regular diet. And this is the change that was seen in their emotional well-being and physical well-being. Again, this is my understanding of why this should be happening is because, we suffer from depression, anxiety because of something called stress. And stress is caused by stress hormones, right? So any animal which can emote, which can feel, will also have the stress hormones. Just imagine them facing their death. How much stress would be there in their body? Just imagine them being imprisoned for life, them being manipulated, their udders being manipulated, their children being killed right in front of them. How much stress would be accumulating in their body? And where is this stress going? Into their muscles, into their secretions. And that we are eating. So again, the delicate balance of the stress hormones in our body is getting imbalanced. So this is one of the factors because of which once you clean up your diet, you can see changes happening into your mental health as well. Yeah, we can go forward. So these are many other patients who have reversed their diseases. The first is all cancer patients. These two completely cured without any chemo or radiation, just by food and a lot of mind work to allay all their fears and everything. These two came to me after they had already started chemotherapy. So the good thing that happened was, both of them, if you see, their hair is still intact. They never lost their hair. They never had the side effects which they generally have from chemo and radiation. And the amount of sessions that they needed to take came down drastically. And they have not recurred till now. They have not had a recurrence till now. So that means that, yes, it is working for them as well, even after they have taken chemo. So diabetes is one of the easily reversible diseases. All of these people were suffering from diabetes. And diabetes generally comes with its friends. That is cholesterol, high blood pressure, thyroid problems. And these two are husband and wife, Bhupesh and Kajal. They just attended a one-day workshop, and they made the changes. And without any doctor's help or anything, they were able to even bring down their thyroid medications, all by clean eating. And this was one case who had come to me for weight loss. And the side effect of it was that I was able to take her off her epilepsy medicines. She stopped getting her fits, so I was able to safely remove her from her medicines. It took 6 months to start weaning off the medicines. So even in a case like epilepsy, it is helpful. Yeah. So should I cover this? Okay. So generally when you say that you have gone plant-based or you have gone vegan, and you go to any doctor or even to your friends, the first thing they will say is, other than where do you get your protein and all from, it will be vitamin D and B12. So how many people in this room have recently checked their D and B12? How many are deficient? Deficient, right? And you are on plant-based or on regular diets? Regular diet. Still we are deficient. But still when a vegan goes, they feel, okay, you will get deficient in B12 and D. B12 and D deficiency is basically a problem of our modern living. It's not just a problem about diet. Because D comes from the sunlight, and we hardly face the sun these days. And even when we are going out into the sun, we don't want to get tanned. So we will lather a lot of sunscreen, so we don't get that right amount of D into our body. And B12 comes from the bacteria. And we pride ourselves on keeping our homes bacteria-free, mud-free. The bacteria in the mud is what creates B12. And if you see, even if you go out into the mud today in the cities, you might not get the quality bacteria. Simply because there's a lot of pollution in this world right now, in the cities right now, and the mud also doesn't have that right bacteria. So unfortunately, these two, if they are deficient, you have to approach your doctor and supplement it. That's the only way out, if you're living in a city. And irrespective of whether you're a non-vegetarian, you're a vegetarian, or a vegan, make sure that you're getting these checked. Okay, the next one. Okay, so another good incentive for going vegan is, how many here are worried about the climate change happening nowadays? All the pollution and all the water shortage that is happening? Okay, good news. You can do something about it. Each time you put things on your plate, you're either aiding the climate change or you're reducing your carbon footprint. Why? Because just look at the chart. This is the amount of water that is required to feed apples, potatoes, cereals, and soybeans. And most of the soybeans we create in this world is to feed the livestock, not humans. So just imagine this side and look at that side. And look at your milk and dairy, how much liters of water is used. This is all depleted from our soil, from our water storage inside the earth. And as it is, we are polluting it with the plastic. So we need to make sure that we are not contributing in this way as well. Next one. Okay, we can skip this. Yeah. So this is how much the water footprint of a vegan is, of a vegetarian is, and a meat eater is. So if you want to conserve water, what will you do? Be vegan, yes. Okay, next one. Okay, this is a retreat that I have coming up in Kasauli on from May 2nd to May 9th. If anybody is interested, the bookings are on. You can go to www.nurtureretreat.in and book your seats there. So that's it. Okay, any questions? You'll find everything, the packages on the website. Okay, any questions? Do we have time or do we do it last? Do it last. Okay, okay. Thank you very much for being such a patient audience.
Thank you, Dr. Rashmi. That was
quite enlightening. Can I please request Mr. Harshad Shah to come in, Harshad Parekh to come and share his experience about reversing diseases and how he's done it. I'm not going to talk more about it. I'll let him talk.
Hi, my name is Harshad Parekh. I'm 75-year-old. Hi, hello. My name is Harshad Parekh. I'm 75-year-old and I'm vegan with my wife for 30 years. And because of being vegan for 30 years, we've been saved mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. I have survived 3 cancers, 1 stroke, and 1 kidney disease. And I have survived 2 bankruptcies. So I truly believe that because I became vegan, somebody is protecting us. It happened one of the evening, 30 years ago, when Muslim philosopher Sheikh Akbar Ali Jetha invited me for a dinner. And he explained that if you become 1% harmless, you can get 1% benefited. If you become 100% harmless, you can become 100% benefited. And I said, benefited in what respect? He said, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Financial word attracted me, nothing else, because I was going through rough time in America. So I said, who is helping all this thing? So he said, whoever you believe, Krishna, Allah, nature, whatever. If you don't harm anybody, somebody is protecting you. So I said, what should I do to become harmless? He said, just drop the milk. So I looked at my wife, that just drop milk, we drink milk in cha. Let's try it. So she said, okay, because we were going through rough time anyway. So I said, I want to know more about it. So he said, come back again. And I went to his home for another dinner. And he explained to me what is the meaning of veganism. It is just not the food. It's a harmless, egoless, and truthful way of living life. And if you live that way, then there is something which is nature or God or Prakriti or whatever you believe, that protects you. Before this thing happened, 6 months ago, I was living in USA at that time. And I had attracted a disease named membranous glomerulonephritic syndrome, where kidney creates hole in your kidney and then protein leaks. So my nephrologist told me that you have to eat a lot of protein because you are losing a lot of protein. So I said, yeah, we are Indian, we eat dal, and I love cheese and milk. And no, you have to eat chicken and fish. I said, no, I will not eat chicken and fish. So then he said, you will die. So I said, let me try. So when I came back here during that treatment, he gave me steroid and he tried to reduce the further damage. But then Akbar Bhai told me that you leave milk, which was the only source I was taking as a protein. So I went there and I said, I'm stopping the milk. He said, you are definitely going to die. I said, let me try. I'll try for 6 months and then we'll see. After 6 months, he was doing all the 24-hour urine and 24-hour blood and seeing how much protein I'm retaining and all. He said, I don't know, Arshad, but something happened and you are cured. That gave me the confidence that something is happening. And since then, we have been blessed. So I have survived 3 cancer, 1 stroke, 1 kidney disease, and 1 Crohn disease. And I'm still living, I'm 75-year-old. My wife, she is 75-year-old. She is diabetic for 45 years. Her mother died at the age of 45. Her sister died at the age of 45. She is 75. And she looks 65 today. So this is all vegan. Today, Drs. Shrenik Bhai Shah is from USA, Dr. Rashmi Menon, they will teach you and they will tell you what are the benefits and how you can do it. I am telling you that practically it is doable because all of us, we are here for the reason. God has created this timing for all of us. And we are logically convinced by the doctors and science and yeah, we should do it. This is what. But somehow or other we can't do it. We are victim of some of our own feeling or our own habits. So what I'm trying to tell you is that do it because you will be blessed so much that there is no comparison. And everything is available. 30 years ago there was nothing available non-dairy. Right now we are getting Shrikhand and cheese and everything is doing it. And doing for the larger cause. Think about it. God, we are all children of God. And when God gave us the birth, God must have thought, you are my children, go on the earth and you will be happy, healthy, blissful all the time. Why we are not that? Because of our karma. This is directly related with our karma. The good karma you do, good result will come. So by becoming vegan, and living harmless, egoless, and truthful life, you are creating your own karma. Then question comes that if I am vegan for 30 years, why I have 3 cancers? Why I have all this disease? Your karma doesn't wipe out. Whatever you have done in the past, you have to pay the price, but it can be reduced by a good karma. So every situation I had a cancer, I was saved by a day or week or month. And God gave me the signal, I got it tested, and I removed my cancer. So this is what is going to happen in your daily life if you become vegan. There is a lot more I can share, but I think we are running late. We are here to listen Dr. Saib from USA. So if anybody wants to know more about it, they can talk to me afterwards. I'll give you my email address, I'll give you my WhatsApp number, and I am ready to help anybody who wants to understand and why and how you can become vegan all the time for your own good. Side effect is animal, side effect is environment. It is all there. But you have to do it for your own good, your children, your future, because God has given us the opportunity that every moment of this life, we have to live in love, joy, happiness, and truth. And we are every moment living life of fear, worry, guilt, and pain. This is all because of the karma. So thank you very much for listening. And I want to say 1 minute about Mr. H.K. Shah. He is my mentor. I was in USA for 30 years. And he started Vegetarian Vision. I worked with him for 8 years as a secretary. And we did wonderful things. Actually, we got $267,000 from one of the lawsuits. And he has done a lot of things. He has a big vision. He has been doing this thing for almost 50 years. And Malti and H.K. Shah has a vision. and here he is helping us to launch this World Vision, World Vegan Vision. So wish us all the best of luck. We'll be doing a lot of activities, and we want to invite you for all our activities. Thank you very much.
So now I invite Mr. H.K. Shah to introduce Dr. Shrenik Shah to the audience.
Friends, this is the first time we are opening our USA chapter into India. There was a discussion whether we should charge the fee or keep it free. Everybody, member of the committee, wanted to charge. I was against that. I said first function should be free,